Welcome back. Thanks for staying with us. Mahikeng residents in the northwest have raised concerns about the violence taking place in their areas. A bus was torched in Extension 39 while a truck was also set alight in a village. The learners from a number of schools were sent back home because of the violence. Communities in these areas, along with those in areas such as Danville, were delayed going to work this morning after they woke up to streets that were blocked with stones and rubble.
Residents of a number of villages around Mahikeng had their daily routines disrupted by violent protest action. It seems unidentified people would blockade a strategic route and then leave the scene. Residents say they don't know the reasons behind the protest, but have their own suspicions. One of the community members says it's unfair for them to be victims of political squabbles.
Children, they fail to go to school because people are busy corrupting and busy pushing corruption, they are busy doing their personal things, using political powers. And well, though, they are killing us because our children are afraid to go to school. Why? Because trucks have been, they fear for their lives. Even the teachers fear for their lives.
Teaching and learning were also disrupted, with some schools forced to send learners back for safety reasons. Authorities have condemned the violent protests that have hindered access to schools for some learners.
Protests in Mahikeng area have already disrupted some of the schools today. This is an extremely significant time of year for all our learners, but especially grade 12 learners as they are rating their junior examinations. According to the evidence that we have received as the department, these protests are not peaceful, and we remind protesters that their right to free assembly, association and expression must be utilized responsibly. The Constitution also states that every child is entitled to basic education.
Some local businesses closed doors out of fear of possible looting.
We had the unexpected move here, so we are scared about businesses. So all we are trying to beg is the communities and police must wake up.
Police in the northwest say no arrests have been made yet.
Currently affected areas are on the N18, the R503 at Danville, as well as Albert Lutuli Drive. Public order policing have been mobilized and are on the scene. No arrests have been made. I can also confirm that a bus have been torched at Albert Lutuli Drive close to a mall, and that a mini truck was also torched close to a Baralong school. Currently, the reason as to why these people are unhappy cannot be confirmed.
Police are on the scene monitoring the situation. Tabiso Moss, SABC News, Mahikeng.
Right, let's expand on this leading story now. We're joined by a spokesperson for the Northwest Basic Education Department, Mpata Molokwane. Very good evening to you. Thank you so much for your time. Learning was disrupted today and pupils were severely affected. What sort of impact has this had on pupils? Because we're learning as we're speaking and interviewing those who are on the ground that children and teachers are fearing for their lives. They can't go to school because they don't feel safe.
Good evening to you, Mpo, and the viewers of SABC. What I can explain is that it's indeed true that our learners were fearing for their lives today as the protest erupted in the morning. So, as the Department of Education, we have seen a need that our learners should be returned back to their homes for their safety, as some of the schools were also disrupted by protesters around Mahikeng area.
I understand that schools were forced to take learners home, send them back home as a result of this protest action. Talk to us about the order of events as learners were being told to leave and which schools were affected and to what extent the violence had on this actual school, the infrastructure and the pupils' lives.
What I can explain is that the school infrastructure was not damaged, just that there were some of the protesters who were entering the school premises demanding that the learners should be out and to join the protest as they were protesting in the streets of Mahikeng. So I can safely say that the infrastructure is not damaged at all and there were no casualties that were reported today.
Public transport services were also affected today. As a department, what decision have you taken for pupils as they wake up tomorrow morning? What should they do?
I can safely guarantee the communities that the situation is calm at the moment. The police, they are busy monitoring the situation out there. Tomorrow the schools will resume as normal. There won't be any protests according to the information that we have currently.
Do you have any contingency measures in place should protests break out?
The only contingency measures that we have in place is to assist our learners in returning back the time that they have lost in their studies today. We'll make sure that we incorporate other measures like extending their timetables so that they can be able to accumulate the time that they have lost today.
I was referring more to the learners and teachers' overall well-being. What sort of contingency measures are in place should you find a situation where the protests do continue tomorrow morning and that students, learners and staff are protected?
We don't have any other choice but to work with the South African Police Service members to make sure that our infrastructure, our staff and our learners are more protected. As the department, we don't have any other security to ensure that our schools are more safer. So we rely more on SAPS.
And very lastly, before we let you go, Mpata, what sort of impact did today's protest action have on learners? I mean, exams around the corner, matriculants preparing. How much lost time has there been?
We can say that the time was lost in today's event because some learners are preparing for their June examinations, more especially the grade 12 learners. So as I've already highlighted that, we'll try by all means from tomorrow to make sure that they recover the time that was lost today by incorporating some other measures or by extending their timetable.
Very well. Thank you so much for that update. Spokesperson for the Northwest Basic Education Department, Mpata Molekwani, giving us an update on the protests on the ground in Mahikeng, the impact that they had on education, teaching and learning, of course, disrupted.